The title of this video is When Good People Go Bad. You know, I recently received a phone call from a salesperson who shared with me that he greeted a customer out on the lot, and this gentleman seemed like a decent fellow until a couple of minutes later he could start to sense that there was something going wrong. And a couple of minutes later beyond that, the customer turned psycho, which meant the customer just said, "I'm not wasting any more of my time. Either you give me the information I'm asking for or I'm taking off." Which the salesperson said, "Geez, I can't get you what you want." So the customer said, "Then I'll go somewhere where they can," and the customer left. Now the salesperson's calling me on the phone and saying, "John, I don't know what I could have done there. The guy just went psycho on me." And I, as politely and nicely as I could, shared with the salesperson, "It's your fault." "Well, no, John, you don't understand. You weren't there." I said, "I understand I wasn't there, but it's still your fault." "No, John, you don't understand." I said, "Listen, when you have a good person turn psycho, it's your fault. When you have a psycho stay psycho, it's your fault. You see, as long as you assume that it's their fault, then you don't have to change. As long as I believe it's the customer's fault for saying no, it's the customer's fault that they want to think about it, it's the customer's fault that they want to shop around. If I say it's them, then what do I have to do? I don't have to change at all. So instead, I must assume personal responsibility. I must presume the responsibility over the sales process so that I can change and enhance my likelihood of turning more psychos into sales. So how do we do that? Well, one of the things you have to learn is the words that you're using when you're communicating with the customer. I asked the salesperson, "When did it first go sideways?" He said, "Well, out on the lot, the customer asked me for the price, and I told him that I obviously don't handle that I barely can keep track of where they park the cars, let alone what the pricing is on everything. And basically, I need to let my manager work on that. Let's first find the right car." To which the customer kind of turned a little sideways. Later on, when he starts to show the car to the customer in more detail, he offers a test drive. And the customer says, "You know what? I'm not interested in driving it right now. All I want to know is what your price is." Well, the salesperson, trained, of course, in how to handle that objection, says to the customer, "Well, sir, if you don't drive the car and you don't like the car, then price doesn't really..." I hear you saying it, or at least thinking it, price doesn't matter. How do you think that works in the customer's mind to hear what they want doesn't matter? So, of course, the customer kind of, fine, gets on the vehicle and goes for the test drive. When he comes back, the salesman says, "Let's go inside." "I don't really want to go inside. I don't have the time. I'd like to know, ballpark, what can you do on this car?" "Well, geez, I don't handle the prices. My management handles the prices. If you're not ready to buy something, how can I get you the best price?" You have to be ready to buy to get the best price. To which the customer turns psycho. This happens all too often in dealerships. Salespeople use verbiage like, "It doesn't matter," or "but first." So when the customer says, "What can you get me for my vehicle?" we say, "Geez, I know you want to get a trade value, but first we should make sure that we find the right car for you." "Well, I know you want the price, but first we should drive the car and make sure you like it." We elevate the process over the person, and the person rebels against it. Change your language subtly and you'll get a different result. So that instead of saying things like "but first," which tells the customer that they can't have what they want until you do what you want to use verbiage that's located on my website, under resources, under new words and phrases. Phrases like, "with your permission," "if you'd allow me to," "let's you and I." So when I'm talking to the customer and I want them to drive the vehicle, I'll say, "With your permission, if you'd allow me to, let's you and I take a closer look at the vehicle. I want to make sure that it's a vehicle that fits your needs. And obviously, you'll get the best price too. No one's ever bought a car from me unless they felt like they were getting a really fair deal on the right car." And when you change your verbiage suddenly and subtly, when you say to the customer things like, "Let's you and I work together on this," instead of "but first, what we need to do is what I want," you change the perspective and change the customer. Less psychos come from changed words. See ya.